Hello everyone and welcome to Dum Dum Dum. I'm feeling a wee bit peckish. Where could we possibly be, Esther Ben?
Hungary.
Oh dear. The jokes aren't going to get any better, by the way, anyone. So, do
They
not.
never do. It's fine. They never do.
No, we are now on round 10 of 19. We're past our FOMO.
We are for the first time, I believe. So
Defo.
congratulations, us. Less congratulations, me, because I'm looking at these statistics and they are just appalling.
So it's a 7-2 on the old out racing, 2-1 on the podiums. Ooh, 9-0 on the qualies and the fastest laps. But you got some pointies.
I did 10 rounds and I scored points in 2 of them.
So,
But that's 2 more than last time. Yeah, that's right.
but doesn't one of them include a certain win?
It does, yeah. The
See,
win was a fluke.
that is Pastor all over, that is.
It was my Maldonado moment.
Never mind, I think next year for 2014 that means we're off to Lotus.
Oh, well, we need something better than this hump. It's just atrocious. Shall we dive into it?
Let's dive into it. So I was just giving a quick refresh of all the old standaroos. Now, you've been chatting to quite a few people about how it's not quite gone to plan.
It has not. I mean, if you look at the videos we did for last season, I know we only did about half the season for various reasons, but our performance was much closer in every sense. We were much more evenly matched, and no one seems to be able to account for it because I've sent you some onboard footage from my laps, and I've sent other people onboard footage from my laps, and nobody can tell me why things are so different when I play online. Because as I'll use the example of the lap I sent to you from Malaysia, where I'm doing my career on pro difficulty.
Yes.
Which is a difficulty level higher than what we're doing our co-op on. Now, on our Malaysia video, I qualified, I think, 15th on a 129 something. Now, on my pro playthrough, single player, I qualified in the top 10 with a 130.
Oh.
Which doesn't make a great deal of sense. Now, I know it simulates track evolution and all that stuff, but it just doesn't seem to add up as far as most people are concerned. Oh dear, look at this. We've got 100% rain for qualifying, but only 22% chance for the race. What on earth do we do?
I've gone one to the left.
Well, in that case, your engine sounds phenomenal, by the way.
Well, thank you very much.
I know I'm such a flirt.
I'll rev it up for you next time I go by.
Brum brum. Right, I'm copying you. I'm just going to do exactly what Simon does. Simon says, if you will, and we'll see if it actually improves anything. I actually quite like this track.
I like the flow of it. I wouldn't necessarily say it's been kind to me over the years, especially as I've just realised that I'm actually playing in a really elongated box, windowed mode. So things don't quite look right. So apologies for the qualifying bit. I'll rectify it for the race. Don't worry.
So it turns out I'm driving this now like F1 All-Stars, which we've just recorded.
Don't forget, because my changing gears would be if we were throwing out balloons to each other.
That would be a definite penalty.
That would be. Charlie would not be impressed.
Now, the thing is, I've actually won one online race against human beings, and it was at this track.
Okay.
But it was in the dry in a Sauber. And I can tell you straight out of the gate that this car does not feel anywhere near as good, and the rain is not helping things either.
No, it's not at all. I'm Struggle Muffin.
I just braked so early into that corner that if you squinted, it would have looked like an old man in a Rover 25. It was so sluggish around that corner. I've just taken one of the hairpins, and it was like I was rotating on the spot. Let's try and set a lap time down, Ben, without embarrassing yourself like you did in Monaco.
Oh, your little Esteban teammate, I've just clouted him.
Good. It's the only way to keep him in line, Simon. If you don't give him a bit of a knockabout, he gets ideas of grandeur.
There's only one Esteban.
There is, exactly. And neither of us are going to be at Sauber next year, so we need to get used to it. Speaking of which, the season is over.
Oh, someone's gone off up ahead.
For once, it's not me.
No, it was, I don't know who that was.
So I have just set purple.
Oh, it was Vettel.
I've set purple sector 1 by 0.4 of a second, which doesn't sound like something that could be accurate.
It could well be. I'm struggling like a moose here.
And now I'm down 3 seconds in sector 2.
Oh no.
What is that?
It's the Caterham. That's the problem.
I'm just going to continue to blame my tools like a shoddy Romanian plumber.
It's of course, that's passport.
Of course, that's a rubbish analogy because we all know that every single Eastern European plumber is exemplary.
Unless they're doing Spanish villas, in which case all electrical wiring has to be Dodge.
Well, I mean, that's just the rules. If you put in safe and reliable electrical wiring, then people will be getting more than they had bargained for.
I remember, I've only been abroad a couple of times, but when I went to have a villa in Spain one year, and we went out onto the top of the villa and was all looking at it, it was all looking very, very pretty. I remember someone going to me, "Don't step back," and it was because there was a ginormous plug like live wire just sticking out. And it just started to rain, and we was all like trying to not die. It was very good. It was dramatic. My life flashed before my eyes, but I hadn't been around very long, so it didn't take that long to do.
I am ruining Alonso's lap, so small joys.
Great. Oh, Vettel, you bitch.
What do you make of these rumours that old Fernando was trying to muscle his way in at Red Bull?
Oh, I've not heard those.
That came from the man himself, Bernie Eccleston.
Oh, I heard the thing where he was saying Alonso wasn't really trying.
Which, to be fair, he wasn't.
I think you'd have had enough at the end of that season. It was a bloody long season, wasn't it?
It was a very long season, and I don't think I've had a season that long since the Schumacher years.
No, that's true, actually. Yeah. But all looking good for next year, hopefully.
I'm just delighted that Button's been kept on by McLaren, because I was worried they were going to get him off. I know they got rid of Perez, and some people have been critical of that decision, and I don't know why I can't learn to love Sergio Perez.
Is it because he talks and he's all a bit like... There's a slight arrogance to it all. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think that is it. I mean, in many ways, he's no different to Kamui Kobayashi was in terms of his driving. You know, very aggressive, getting his nose in there in the corners.
Yep.
And I like watching that style of driving, but with Perez, he just doesn't have the humility that Kobayashi had.
No. Or the personality, or anything really.
Well, Kamui was Mr. Personality.
Do you remember that song from the 90s? Mr. Personality, you're so ugly.
Yeah, I do. It's essentially his theme tune.
Ah. And I'm glad that Hulkenberg is in F1, although he's at Force India.
I don't know. I think actually that could pay off in the long run.
Force India certainly look like they're in better position to do things.
I'm really of the school that next year Lotus is going to be weak.
Yes, because surely they will have suffered massively from the lack of anything going on this year.
Precisely. I think
like money-wise, rather.
I think also, I know they needed the money, but Maldonado was a poor call.
Yeah. I suppose if they think, is it survival or not, it depends how close to the wire they really are, and that's very difficult to really know.
I think what it is, they're just trying to push Roman. They're going to use the money from Pastor to develop the car for Roman, which I don't necessarily disagree with. But, you know, at the end of the day, a team shouldn't really be focusing on one driver before the season begins. And I know they'll say that they won't be doing that, but they will. I just don't see Maldonado being anything other than a forlorn figure in the paddock next year. I don't think he's got many allies at all within the sport.
No, although he is good for a stupid story. But I'm glad that there is characters in F1, and even if he is being a complete and utter douche, I think it's hilarious that there are characters in F1, again, a little bit like that.
That's true. That's true. I suppose I shouldn't take him for granted in that regard. What are your thoughts on Heike?
I was so disappointed because that was his chance, and I don't think he'll get another one.
No, I think you're right. I think that's his career in the bin. And I tell you what frustrates me more is that he showed he could do it.
Yep.
It's just that he couldn't do it when it mattered.
Yeah, because especially in Austin, I know he had car problems in Austin, but he was there or thereabouts with the car problems, and then when there was no car problems, there was no difference, and that was the issue in Brazil. Brazil was the nail in the coffin. I don't think Austin was bad.
Well, the other thing for me with him that very much frustrated me is that he just seemed too scared of binning it. He seemed committed to finishing the race, which, you know, laudable.
Yeah.
But finishing the race doesn't earn you anything. Look at Max Chilton.
Yeah. He must now be trying to vie with Karthikeyan for the most amount of positions finished over 20.
He's
But to be fair, the difference between what Heike done and what Max is doing is that for Max there is, if he bins it, he's not going to be seen as anything but a zero, whereas because for them it is about make sure you are there at the finish for if everyone else screws it up, whereas with Heike you couldn't go into it so scared because of it's going to be wet territory now, the tyres have gone cold even though I'm going around on a hot lap. With Heike the problem was that by driving that conservative, that field is so much more squished up, you just lose out.
Yes, that's exactly it. It's been punished because everyone has developed the cars well.
Yes. Whereas with Marussia, you can drive your heart out and still be 21st, and it's not going to kill you. Whereas just making sure that you bring the car home is going to ensure that if everyone else screws up, you're going to look good.
Can I just, I'd just like to give a shout out to Caterham for doing the best thing that's happened all season, which was, I can't remember which race it was, but you may recall, they used team orders on
yes,
on Charles Peak for 18th place.
Yes, let Guido through. It's going to matter not a jot.
Just, I mean, that's a pretty clear message, isn't it? When you're giving team orders for 18th position. Do you reckon I can get a lap in on some wets?
Did that not work for you last time?
No, if you remember, last time what happened was I put wets on 2 laps early, and they were ruined by the time I needed them.
Ah, okay.
I made the right call, but at the wrong time.
Yeah, Inters have gone. This is skiddier than Harlow in February.
Well, I'm going to try and get round in time to set one more fast lap.
I'm going to dive in and try a set of wets because I'm still dropping down the order, but I don't see how anyone else could have the grip to go higher up. What position are you, mate?
Dead last.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm having a torrid time. So I've just come out of the pits, and before I crossed the white line, my race engineer has said people are setting competitive times in intermediates. You might want to come back and change.
Oh. It feels so skiddy.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking out of his arse because I'm on wets now and they're feeling, if anything, a bit better. I mean, still not fantastic because, you know, I'm in a Caterham, but nevertheless, it's all right.
I'm going to go for wets as well. I'm following your lead.
Are you sure that's wise? If one thing this series has taught us is that any strategy call pertaining to weather made by Ben is the wrong call.
Esteban constantly signs in the Mexican sun. Oh, I'm too late. Oh no, I'm not going to get round in time.
Never mind. It's better than looking at the inside of your garage.
That is true.
I'm going to be able to set a lap, but it's not going to be a pretty one.
Oh, he's just said the same thing to me. He lies. No way, there's way more grip on wets.
But see, last time I found never question your race engineer, because he's usually right.
We'll soon find out.
Right, I'm going to be able to get a lap in.
Actually, it is really, really on the knuckle. Okay, the wets don't turn in.
I'm still using my Kers at the inappropriate moments as well. Like during the best man speech at a wedding or during a colostomy exchange.
In the morgue.
I run wide at that corner every time in the wet. Well, I'm 1.2 seconds down in Sector 2 on my last position lap. So nothing is happening here. If anything, my performance is going backwards. I'm looking at you, patch number 4.
I wonder what they changed in the new patch then.
I think it was quite a small update, one that just completely screws over Ben.
Oh, if your name is Esteban. Well, Fernando Alonso's 18th on the grid.
That's my fault because I held him up the entire way round.
Rosberg 14th. So there's some dodgy people out of position.
I'm hoping we have a dry start to the race and that the rain doesn't come.
Until right at the end or something.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm...
Was that you smashing the red?
Yeah. And my engine was orange the entire way round that.
Oh no. Oh dear. To make things better, in the Caterham, you was only 3 tenths behind Pastor Maldonado in the Williams.
I love this about you, Sam, and you always try and cheer me up. You're 3 tenths behind a mad Venezuelan.
What could be wrong with that? I found out today that there's a NASCAR driver who used to be, or an IndyCar driver who's a lady from Venezuela, and her first name's Milka, and she wasn't even sponsored by the chocolate bar.
That is an outrage.
I know.
I mean, that just sells itself, doesn't it? That's obvious.
That's instant sponsorship. It's like when you say, "Oh, I'll change my name to be something," and then they just don't deliver the money.
Do you remember when Jimmy White became Jimmy Brown?
No.
Sauce.
I don't remember that at all.
He did indeed.
Amazing.
Have you changed your settings? You wanted to change some stuff, right?
Yep. What I'll do is I'll dive it out in between sesh because I've just got to watch me all cry and be upset.
Yeah, same's happening to me. Although understandably this time.
Now Never mind.
I just want to point out that the car is a load of arse.
It's a big fat greasy arse.
Yeah, it is. It's a load of bollocks. It's just rubbish.
Aww. Boo. Hang on 2 seconds. 3, 2, 1, F9. 1, 2, 3, F9. Back in the game. Okay. Well, I hope at least it's a nice pert arse that deserves a good smacking so that it can go round the lap faster.
I guess we shall find out.
It's dry.
My suspicion is that if I was to put on primes now and try and do my long run strategy, it will rain and completely nullify it. And I'm so paranoid about that I am going to extend my start on options, and pit on lap 8. How are you feeling? And of course, now it is dry. We're on the most inappropriate setup possible. Or one of them, at least.
Right. Oh, now I've got F1 2013 flickering on me. 2 seconds. Right. Don't flicker, be nice.
That mad-looking Italian referee that works on my front right tyre is looking increasingly impatient. And he's got a ghost hand that ghosts to his forearm.
Right, well I'm going to do the other way round then, and I'm going to go for prime, and then I'm going to switch to options on lap 12.
Good. I'm interested to hear, because this is you and me swapping our standard strategies, and I want to see how it works for you and whether you're as happy with it as I am, because I do prefer that strategy.
Right, bear with me a second. My F1 2013 is freaking out. I'm just going to have to quickly stop the screenshotting. Back in the mix. Okay. Right, yeah, so swapping of the old strategy. This could go horribly wrong or right for both, or neither.
I'm aiming for a insane balls out crazy move into the first corner and move me up to like 3rd position.
Okay.
Don't let me down, eh?
Good luck with that one. Are you hungry for some action?
I am hungry for some action.
With your Taco Bell Esther Ben.
And I want at least a point again.
Yes.
Because I qualified last time, didn't I? And I got a point.
That's true. Maybe this is like your trademark. It's all a bit Vern and Al Jaswari. You can only score once you've been knocked out of Q1. No one else is on my tyres.
Well, they aren't normally when I do it either. I'm last. I'm still last. Still last. Still last.
Oh, I'm being absolutely mugged.
Even more last. I have become Chilton. I am channeling Chilton. Maybe that's what we should call this series.
Channeling Chilton. I tell you what, Hulkenberg's 3rd in the Sauber. Oh, not anymore. Yoink.
Right, these McLarens need to let me through.
Well, that's good if you're up to McLaren's already.
Yeah, I've just got a penalty though, so that's unfortunate.
Oh no!
I was being a bit aggressive. But I'll take it because I'm now up to 8th.
Oh wow.
So I don't know what the testicles happened in qualifying, but it's coming out okay in the race.
Maybe they've just increased the speed of the difficulty for wet people. Wet people, I know what I mean.
For people who have recently fallen into the river.
Yeah, mermaids only. Oh, Grosjean Massa 1-2.
Where are you up to?
2nd.
Good man.
Oh, Massa's about to yoink me. Yeah, I feel I hope it does rain because we are suspiciously well underpowered down the straights.
Then again, I'm catching the back of Button. It's only on the straights that I lose him, but through the corners I'm much faster than he is. So if it does rain, that might actually blow that for me.
Okay. I can never do turn 4.
Whoever it is messaging me on Steam, go away. I can't see who it is because I've just got Simon's face in the top right corner.
My face?
Yeah.
Off
Skype.
of... Okay. I was like, I'm not broadcasting my face. Maybe that's what's causing your performance issues. It's been known to happen. Everyone seems to take a nosedive as soon as they see my chops.
Oh, Hamilton got round me.
Oh, no.
I am driving like a complete fool.
I don't feel comfortable. And Grosjean's pulling away.
I blame you, F1 race stars.
Isn't it hard to swap from one to the other?
It is. I didn't think it'd mess me up this badly, but it has. I've got a much more laissez-faire attitude to taking a corner now.
Where's the launch pads?
I could use them.
See, because this is my problem, is because I bounce between so many games all the time. I'm never like master of any of them because I get confused physics-wise. I'm so sorry for everyone. I keep going wide on that corner.
Yeah, it's the same one. I keep going wide on as well.
Oh. Okay.
Well, bye-bye points.
No. Not
Well,
yet.
I'm 9th, but Perez is sort of right on my gearbox, and I've got a 10-second penalty, so I'm not going to be able to get 10 seconds away from him. Even though, like, normally I accept responsibility where I deserve a penalty, but that one I definitely didn't. It was Adrian Sutill's fault.
Don't think we'll see him in F1 next year.
I've heard he's going to Sauber.
Oh.
It's the Resta that we're not going to see.
Was it you that was talking about he may take over his cousin's shoes over in
IndyCar, yeah.
Yeah. I quite like that rumour.
Well, the thing is that I always liked Paul Di Resta until this year. And then this year, I think he's just been a complete prize pillock.
Yeah, there was all the tantrums at the start of the year, and then a 5-race crashing spree.
I think the only F1 driver these days that has the ability to admit when they've been a dick is Lewis Hamilton. Which is strange, you wouldn't have said that 3 or 4 years ago.
No, that is true, actually.
But
he does feel like he's publicly displaying some kind of bipolar problem.
Yes. There's something wrong with him. I say that not as a professional, but as some guy who lives on the internet. But
yeah, he troll you.
Yeah, there's something not right there.
It's like a chemical imbalance.
And you'd think it's all that Monster he must be drinking as part of the sponsorship deal. I take that back. Please don't sue us, Monster. No, the thing with him is that he's got Niki Lauda on his doorstep. Why? Niki Lauda is the person who should be helping him through all this stuff, whatever personal issues he's having.
Has he not seen Driven? Or not Driven, whatever it is. Rush?
Oh, do you know when 1 is coming out?
No.
Because I really, really want to see that.
What one's that one about?
It's a documentary composed mostly of unseen footage from F1 from the last 30 or 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And it's about how safety has changed. It's quite a lot of it is supposed to be about how Bernie and Max sort of made the safety changes that needed to be made, and helped sort of pioneer that kind of stuff. But it's a lot of sort of private family handycam footage from inside the pit garages and stuff, and capturing people's reactions to their husbands dying, and it's supposed to be quite powerful stuff.
Oh, wow.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing it, actually.
I really enjoyed, actually. It was on BBC Two when they done the F1 The Killer Years, and they were showing everyone's reactions to various stuff with that, because I was quite pleased with that move. That was interesting to hear from like the wives of drivers who had kicked it and so on and so forth. Oh, that was a terrible move. And I mean kick it in respectful ways. That was just my way I was saying things. It was kind of all behind the scenes type stuff, and that was really interesting to watch. How you see like the hidden side of F1 and how they deal with stuff.
I mean, it's kind of like a family, isn't it? When you think about it, I mean, these people travel the world together for more of the year than they don't.
Yeah.
So I guess there's this very special sort of community spirit that comes into place. I tell you what, though, it's a bit of an indictment of this season that I've found my tyres have completely gone off because I've been driving like a pillock. I found it pretty damning that I've spent more time in recent weeks watching retro F1 than I have watching anything close to today. Like last season was really entertaining.
Yeah.
And this year, not a bit of it.
Do you put that down to Vettel, or would you say that the show was just generally not quite with it up and down the field?
I put it down to a certain bald man with a pencil. It is. It's Adrian Newey. He needs to be banned.
It must be. Oh, Esther Ben's in the pits. It must be very difficult though, because surely other people must be able to rival him in terms of doing the old pencil designs at some point.
But history wouldn't agree with that. The only time he's not won a championship is when he's been on a transition phase from one team to another. I mean, like, there was the period of Benetton being dominant while he was on his transition from Williams to McLaren, I believe.
Yeah.
I think those dates marry up. I could be talking completely out of my arse. And wasn't the period of Renault domination when he was on strained relations with McLaren before he finally jumped to Red Bull?
Yeah.
And then obviously in every team he joins, it takes a period of 1 to 2 years for him to get up to speed and to actually have an impact on the team. But when he's firing on all cylinders, his cars are just undisputed championship winners.
Do you think that's why they keep having to shake up the regulations every couple of years?
Yeah, I do, to be honest.
But does that not then make it so that actually he'll be able to put his prowess to the front, and then his car should be by far and away more dominant next year because they're all having to start from scratch and can't steal his ideas?
Hard to say, but he didn't see the double diffuser coming, so I think you can knock him onto the back foot, but it takes something pretty big. I know he's publicly, at least, pretty nervous about these new regulation changes. And actually, did you see a lot of designers have come out and said next year's cars are going to be phenomenally ugly unless something is changed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you keep seeing that horrible nose that dips down like some bird has gone splat into a tree.
Exactly. it's supposed to be pretty special, and not in a good way. But I think, you did have some great designers in the previous eras, but Nui's always just been one step ahead when he's been in the right frame of mind and had the time to make an impact. I mean, like, my favorite designers actually are John Barnard and Dr. Harvey Postlethwaite.
Ah, good old Harvey.
I mean, he was, for me, just an absolute visionary.
Mm-hmm.
Which somehow it's not a credit I can lay at Nui's door, even though he is. Like, I know he's invented ways of doing things that have changed the grid top to bottom. Teams have had to adopt his ideas to remain competitive. And that's not too different to some of the things Postlethwaite came out with, but I think it was the era that Postlethwaite was working in that makes him...
Yeah, I think with the era that they were in, is that whether or not it was or not, it appears like things were much more open book so that you had more room for error, whereas nowadays things are so narrowly defined by it must be XYZ, XYZ, XYZ all the way through. You've got such a narrow working window to go, right, I'm going to make my difference here, that it's half spelled out where you can look.
Exactly, and when these guys were working previously, you didn't have the advanced simulation technologies and stuff that allowed you to play around. You had a budget to spend, and either you got lucky and your idea paid off, or that money was wasted and you had an uncompetitive car that year. And Postlethwaite was someone that he delivered. I mean, Tyrrell in their latter years don't strike many people as being all that successful, but when you consider the budget they were operating on and the nature of the grid at the time, if you go back and watch F1 from that era, you'll find that actually they were there or thereabouts in terms of the midfield, which I never remember them as. Before I started watching this stuff again, I tried to think back to when I first got into F1. I always associated Tyrrell with being rubbish. Tyrrell and Minardi, they were a pair. They went together in my mind.
Oh no, only 97 and 98. And even 97, they were kicking the midfield a little bit. Only 98 were they terrible.
And that
maybe
was
92.
That was Rossett, wasn't it?
Rossett and Takagi, yeah. Because that's why Ken Tyrrell left, was because he employed Rossett over Verstappen. So he said, right, screw this, I'm not even going to run the final year. And just walked out. So credit to the man. Who is he still with us, Ken Tyrrell?
No, he died, unfortunately.
I thought he had.
But his family still run the team like it's a real team. Did you know this? If you go to teamtyrrell.com, you can still buy merchandise and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, I've pitted a lap early. These tyres are terrible.
Yeah, my tyres are falling off again. It's going to be a two-stopper for me, I think.
I think Massa's two-stopping, actually.
I've got back up to 9th, but almost entirely by accident. I'm going to come in lap 12, I think, for another set of options and hope that that's enough to get me back in the points.
Okay.
I found out the problem with this car, and I guess it's probably how we set it up, but don't you feel that you're off the power for most of a corner?
I feel like I should be able to get on the power a lot earlier than what I do, yeah.
I guess you're probably going to be on the power before I am because you're better, but there's not a car that I feel I have to coast in as much as this one.
It just feels fat. Coming from someone who is quite fat themselves.
You're sort of a Hulkenberg.
I'm just a Hulk.
Bulkenberg, if you will.
I love that.
Esteban and Bulkenberg. There we go.
There's a team of... Oh, we should have been Saubers with those names.
We should have been. Man,
What a missed op.
we know what we're doing next season then, don't we?
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, we have to do more of these after the end of the season, but for the love of God, can we have a better car?
Yeah, we should up the difficulty a little bit and then go for like top-notch cars and do like a couple of 100% race giggles or something stupid.
Yeah, I still think we need to get on at least a 100%.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking there's something that we can do in there in terms of getting more people involved.
Yes.
And maybe trying to raise a little bit of money for people more needy than ourselves.
Yes. I like that idea. And that doesn't mean other racing drivers who have got problems.
No, I mean, because I have problems. Let me tell you, I have got problems. Do you know what happened to me the other day?
I dread to think, but go for it.
The temperature crashed in Berlin, like out of nowhere. It went from being relatively mild to being below zero.
Oh no!
And I was on my way to work to get the train and everything, and I thought, crikey, I know it's cold, but it feels a lot colder than it otherwise would. My legs are freezing. And I get to work to realise that I'd spent the first 2 hours of my day with my flies wide open. So, you know, if anybody does need assistance, it's going to be me.
See, if you was a designer, they would call you Gustav Brunner. Amazing. I can't quite top that, but I do have a slightly cringeworthy story of this week, where I've been kind of helping out doing some funeral arrangements for a family member that passed away. And I was just phoning up just to confirm times and stuff. And I was saying, oh, well, it's for, I say my granddad's name, Bill Fisher. And I was like, well, no, there's no Bill Fisher booked in for 11:30. And I think, what time of day it is? And they're going, well, we don't know this name at all. And after lots and lots of confused, like, argy-barginess and me freaking out, it turns out that they decided they weren't burying him. They were burying my mum, who had arranged the funeral. So they wanted to bury a Lynn instead. So I was laughing my head off afterwards, but not quite at the time.
Understandably so.
I've not told my mum yet that they were going to bury her. I thought I'd leave that until after funeral stress, and then I'll just laugh at her.
Look, Mum, I know it's a little bit premature, but in this economy, you can't argue with the price.
No, it's like buy one, get one free. A bog off, literally. Oh, sorry, Vettel. Don't give me a penalty for that, for goodness sake.
Do not apologise to him.
I was being very rude. Not as rude as that, though. Oh, my goodness me.
Right, the car is feeling a little bit more fighty. Now I've got fresh options on, but I am in 18th with a 10-second penalty. So,
Ooh.
4 laps to go. Not sure how much I can do here.
Well, I reckon rain's going to hit at the last lap or two. So there may be trouble there.
Do you know what? That got me a podium before now, because the AI stubbornly refused to pit.
Oh, I see rain.
Oh, so do I. God, I wish I hadn't stopped. Yet again, proof that Ben's strategies just do not work.
The only time I ever switched to do your strategy, and it appears to be not too bad.
Whereas I switch to yours and then amend it, and it's wrong. I can see it starting to rain. You know what's happened? They've sent the intern outside, stuck his hand out through the pit door. Bit of a dribble. Let him know.
I bet they do that on porn sets. Right, Felipe, as much as I like you leading the race, I really want this win.
You deserve that win, mate. Well, I had to do something a bit serious this week.
Oh no.
Because I had to...
Never again.
Never again. That'll not happen again. Well, I hate doing serious stuff. The internet's full of serious stuff. It's full of stuff that isn't funny either, much like me, but never mind, everyone's got their place. But I had to write a blog post. Ooh. And now I'd been long overdue. I've been putting it off. And normally I try and go for a humorous angle on something, even if I am actually not funny. Like my stand-up isn't funny either. And sorry, I'm concentrating on the chicane here. So basically, I was asked my opinion, and this is something you and I have in common, Simon.
Ooh.
In that we both have a Scottish dad.
Oh, yes.
Not the same Scottish dad.
No, that would be a revelation for a broadcast, wouldn't it?
Although it would make sense, because from what you're telling me, but my dad is a bit fat, so...
That doesn't narrow down Scottish men very much, doesn't. To be fair.
Although what does make him stand out is that he's lived beyond 55. So well done there.
That is true. Although my dad has... Let's do death stats. My dad's had 1 heart attack.
He hasn't had any, but he has had serious respiratory issues.
Oh no, he wasn't eating a haggis at the time.
No, and he's not a smoker either.
My dad was a smoker, then gave up, then went back, and I can't remember where he is now. He kind of twos and fro's, depending.
But it might be a genetic thing as well, because I've had pneumonia 3 times now.
Oh, crikey. But
it's comforting to know that you've got a rough idea of what's going to finish you off. Like, you prepare for it, you know. So, as fun as this Scottish Health Olympics is, the
gold medal for heart attack. Yay!
The question was, where do I stand on independence? Right.
Okay.
Which I know is a bit of a big issue to try and tackle during this, so we won't. But I am curious about your opinion, right? Because what I wrote about was when I was at primary school. You know how you do, it's playtime and you get together and play football. Mm-hmm. I'm going to run out of fuel. Don't know how. I've not turned my fuel up or down the entire race, but
my fuel has gone a lot quicker as well.
I'm -1 lap.
Oh shit!
So that's me done. But I'm in 17th anyway, so my 2-stop strategy hasn't worked. Well, we used to play football on our school field, right? And you do what young lads do, which is you imitate footballers of the day. So of course everyone wants to be Alan Shearer or whoever. And obviously, I was a local kid. Mm-hmm. But there was myself and another lad whose dad was also a Scot, thanks Thatcher. And this had never been anything of an issue before, really. But we were playing football and we were told that we couldn't be. He wanted to be David Seaman, God knows why.
It's a tash.
And I think I'd taken Gary Pallister. For reasons that I'll probably never truly comprehend.
Don't even know the name.
And we were told, no, you're not allowed to beat them because we were Scottish.
What?
Which we weren't. As far as I was concerned. But we had the names, and they knew that your parents were jocks, as the terminology goes, right? So I ended up having to be Gary McAllister, which is the most depressing story that, if anyone does know who Gary McAllister is, you'll know how truly disappointing that is. I mean, this guy was born bald and middle-aged. Right? Now, and up until then, I'd never really thought about it before.
Yeah.
And then since then, there was no bullying, there was nothing vicious behind it, but it was just sort of a gentle reminder that you were in some regard considered a little bit different.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got enough fuel back to finish the race. That's a happy result.
My rear tyres have gone. I can't keep on the track. Yep, sorry, go for it.
It's all right. My race engineer was spouting some complete and utter nonsense.
Massa win.
But since then, I sort of adopted the culture a bit. I got into it, and now I support Scotland in the football, and this issue is quite important to me. And I actually support independence. And I'm just wondering what your viewpoint is. I mean, how Scottish do you feel?
I don't feel very Scottish at all, to be fair. I think I would support them in whatever they want to do, but I really can't say that I'm that fussed.
I think what it is as well is that I educated myself about the issue, and at first I was very much in favour of the union, but once I sort of took time to understand the issues a bit more, that was when my view changed. But it's just interesting that we arguably have a greater connection and a greater say than many, say, Irish Americans do. Many of them are like third or fourth generation.
Mm-hmm.
And they still feel very strongly about the Irish Troubles. And it's just interesting to get your perspective on it. But yeah, that was the only serious thing I've done in a while, and I don't think I'll be in a hurry to repeat it.
Good for you. Disgrace. I don't really have masses to say about the Scottish thing. I suppose because I work as a public sector person, I try to not get so angry on politics as a whole, because I find my entire life is dominated by it, and therefore I can never do my job fully to the best of my ability for it anyway. And then I just go, oh, look at that lovely pile of sand. Oh, look, heads in. So yeah, good luck to them. I just hope that they are able to be self-sufficient if that's what they want.
That's a lovely sentiment. It almost made me feel better about the fact that I'd been beaten by not one but two Frenchmen.
Oh, yes.
You've got a podium and I've got 19 thanks to a 10-second grid penalty.
Fuck it.
It just doesn't get any better, does it?
No. But that was a weird one, because something must have gone on, because Grosjean was leading up until the first stops and ended up 7th. So he obviously had troubles. Verne scores for Toro Rosso. I think that's their first point. You beat Daniel Ricciardo, though, and he's off to Red Bull next year, so that clearly shows your talent.
I am. It's true.
And you beat
what
Chilton.
What happened with you and Vettel, though? You were running second, right?
Yeah, I lost my tyres on the last lap. They went, because I pitted that lap early, because I'd gone too hard on the other tyres. And they just went. They were spinning up the rears on the last lap, and I went off. It's a good little mini duel where I try to nudge him off without getting a penalty. It doesn't work.
But it's the spirit that counts.
Seb, you devil. Yeah. Oh, well, dude, we'll have to get you back up onto that podium very shortly.
Well, that's another round down. I'm
counting them down.
Yeah, I'm Mark Webbering it now.
You are.
I'm just going to turn up on the day, phone it in, get to the end of the season.
And we've got a better car waiting for you at the end.
And I think we've done quite well, because this was the first episode where we have used innuendo. I'm sorry, we have. Sorry. How foolish of me to think that we'd gone an episode without using some kind of double entendre.
We have to lower the tone, especially after yesterday. I went out for something in London called the Breakfast Club, and we go out for breakfast burritos, and inside they had T-shirts up all over the wall, because apparently this weekend it was Sausage Fest. So I was highly delighted by that, and I have photos and everything.
I just want to say, look at how stonking your fastest lap was.
Ooh, that'd be true.
That's nearly 2 seconds quicker than the race winner.
Wow, it's only Felipe. Yes.
And mine was...
Yours was
27. Right. Mine, it wasn't bad, but...
You was up with the rest?
No, the mystery continues. Do you know, I'm hoping one day we get a really insightful comment from someone who just... Well, basically, it'll probably happen when we start covering this from my view as well, but someone who can just turn up and say, this is exactly what's happening there, and then I can fix it and stop being so rubbish.
I still say it's the 2 or 3 goes in to the steering finger or something. That was the only thing that I could spot. But it's being really, really critical, and I'm crap at being critical at anyone, even though I commentate on sim racing as a hobby.
The thing is with that though is that I'd gone into those corners and my frame rate would tank. So the biting at the wheel was actually trying to figure out if I was still going straight or not.
Do we think that this is entirely frame rate related still? Because if it's frame rate that's such an issue, and we know that there's such a problem with the patches and stuff, and the reason why they're getting the patches is because of the frame rate issues online, I wonder.
I don't know. It's a bit too convenient to just blame it on that. I think it's a combination of things. I think setup plays a big factor as well. But every time I try and, either work out a setup or steal a setup from someone more intelligent than myself, it worked well in 2012. It worked appallingly for 2013. So God only knows.
Well, the mystery will continue.
But, that's another element. That's another reason to keep watching.
We'll see in the final race in Brazil. You'll be like, yeah, lapped you all, whatever's.
Yeah, it'll just come out. There'll be like a protagonist. There'll be someone behind it all. Some bastard who's presumably responsible for everything.
Maybe it might be Greg the bastard. Who knew?
Could be. Could be. Clue in the title.
Ching. Anyway, you lot all take care. Cheers for watching. Loving the comments, by the way. I should be dishing them out and look forward to entertaining you all next round.
Toodles.
Toodles.